Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck. Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift, here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week's topic is going to be soda can marketing, but before that, let's do our wins and whinges of the week. Sam, what are yours?
I'll start with a win because it feels like the nicest thing to do. My win this week is that I finally released a short story on BookFunnel, which I've been meaning to do since the start of the year. I've never used BookFunnel before, which is a website / author tool where you can build up a mailing list by kind of cross-marketing with other authors. I guess that's what you could describe it as. So I've been meaning to do that for a while because my mailing list is just utterly terrible. So I finally set it all up and did some research of how it all worked. Got myself, I've got a couple of people who've downloaded my short story, and I've signed up for 2 things on it at the moment. So I've got a book swap and a mailing list swap set up for the end of this month. So I feel really exciting. Like I've done something really authory and good. My win of the week is I set up. Oh yeah. It's definitely like a learning curve, from what I can tell. There seems to be a lot going on, and yeah, trying to figure it out. But I've done like the first part, so I feel like that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
My whinge of the week is that I set up an Amazon ad for my book Curse of the Wild, and it has not done anything. So I feel like I've obviously done something horrendously wrong. I don't know what it could have been. When you set up a Facebook ad, you tell it all the things you want it to do, you put money into it, and it delivers it, no questions asked. And you get clicks or you get whatever results you want. They may not be the best results, but you see results. And with Amazon ads, that's not the same. It doesn't work the same.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason, I have not generated any clicks on the ad that I ran. Go on.
I think so. Having read the Rachel McLean book and talked to other authors who are doing well with Amazon ads, I think the problem often is, and I have not got great experience with Amazon ads, but I think the problem often is bidding low. That if Amazon thinks that you're bidding low, it doesn't serve your ad enough, or it serves it and doesn't get enough like responses straight away, it will just stop serving it because it prioritizes supposedly or reader experience or customer experience. So people who have had success that I know of, and I'm sure this isn't the only strategy, but like definitely people who have had reliable success have bid really high to start with and then lowered it once their ad is kind of Amazon said, okay, we see this ad is successful, we'll start serving it and serving it to right people. So I think if you put in a low bid, you can just find it really hard to get it going, which is a real pain because you think, I just want to test it and see how it works. But yeah, I definitely want to do
that
more
was
with
basically what I wanted to do.
Amazon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was it's a fun learning strategy. I did go in low and increased it, which obviously isn't the right tactic for Amazon. That's what Facebook likes, but yeah, a learning curve, and a nice lesson. I'll just take that. And next time,
yeah, I think it's worth
I won't
trying
just
the other
play
way
around
as well,
I'll
like
do...
trying trying a high bid and then dropping it once you got some results in, at least, just to see like, oh, is it worthwhile? I think that's why, it's a competitive market, I think, with Amazon ads, because a lot of people there with long series, so they can afford to bid very
Yeah.
high and then have a lot of read through. So it is a tricky place to run ads. Whereas like Facebook, people are doing all sorts of advertising in there. They're not necessarily advertising to, with very specific spends in mind and very specific income in mind. They have to appeal to a broader base. Whereas like Amazon has really been well utilized by people with long series.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll take it. What are your wins and whinges of the week?
One win, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, there's a little bell going. It was a cat collar because I've got 2 cats. I am very excited. I have not had cats as an adult. I have just spent ages, and this sort of comes back to a lot of mindset stuff I've been thinking about with writing in general. I spent ages just like hemming and hawing and like thinking about what the negative consequences could be and trying to make the sensible decision. And wanting a cat, but like telling myself I didn't want a cat because I didn't want to be disappointed if it like didn't go well. But I'm just trying to lean into it, like, you know what, I want a cat. I'm just gonna get a cat. And in fact, I got 2 cats, so I've gone all in. And I can hear one of them in the background, who was the shyer one. So I got them on Friday, and today's Monday. They were rehomed. They had a very nice family home, but the family was growing and they just didn't have space or the resources to keep the cats. So I've taken them in. They instantly hid under my bath into like a hole in the paneling and are slowly coming out more. They are out and about at night. They're quite adventurous at night because I have slept in like a living room area so I could see them. And then if I go to where they are, they will come out of the hole in the wall and come for strokes, but they're not exploring a lot. But I'm still very excited. And they are called Poirot and Miss Marple. So absolutely on brand, and I love it. And I'll be putting them in a newsletter once I've got some more cute photos of them when they're busy being, a bit more extroverted and posing. So big win, feels like win in all ways. My other one of the week is this necklace, which you are also wearing. Cannot see if you listen to the podcast, but we got necklaces that say Epiphany. I am really trying to, and I think I'm trying to lean something that I think is a positive thing about myself. Whenever I think of something that I want, um, I'm not saying I will always buy it, but like I'm really tuned into like thinking, oh, that would fix a problem in my life, or that would make me happy, and then just going and finding out how I can do it. I often have like DIY things around my house, or like home decor things that people will say, oh gosh, I didn't know that's a thing, or I've never seen that before. It's like I really just try to tap into my creativity in day-to-day life and just be like, I want this thing, I'm sure someone's made it. And I was like, oh, you know what I want is I want something like fun, and they're not expensive. They're just like a cute little thing. I was on Etsy buying some stickers for my new laptop, which is another one in the week. I've got a new laptop. And I was like, oh, I really want like a cute sort of like something through the podcast to celebrate that we are doing really well and like working really hard and everything. It feels like my writing journey has changed 1,000% since we started. Like I've had a book club, I've got this new series, we're doing Amazon ads. So yeah, tiny little gold necklaces that say Epiphany, and they're just really fun and lovely. So a week of just absolute wins, and my writing is going really well. It's so exciting. Yeah, phenomenal week.
I'm so happy. My face actually hurts from just smiling the last 20 minutes or so.
In fact, it's going so well
really...
that I was talking to another writer friend who's one of my Hong Kong writer friends, and she was saying, "Oh, I was inspired by you getting a book club, and I'd stopped applying for a while because I kept getting rejections, but I applied again and got a book club." I was like, "Oh my goodness, the pen to paycheck enthusiasm and positivity is spreading everywhere. Fantastic."
Yes, we are contagious. So, we have a topic of the week. This week is what is soda can marketing and how are you doing it? So, would you like to explain where this term came from and what you're doing?
Yes, I absolutely would. So we meet once a month face to face, and we have a whole afternoon session in the bistro of a local science museum, the Science Industry Museum in Manchester. It is phenomenal, and they have a very nice area where it's no longer in use most of the time, and it's just some nice seating. People can have picnics indoors in this old historic building. So we meet once a month in there, and often there are lots of kids around, but sometimes there are not. And this week we were talking about trying to think about a new approach for our marketing, and like trying to separate like your love for the story and your deep engagement with the story from the actual physical product. And we're thinking like, okay, imagine if we weren't marketing books and we were just marketing Coke. Like, how would we sell Coke? Like, how would we sell Coke to people? And unfortunately, we kept saying, how would we sell Coke to people? Like in front of a
I
bunch of
just,
kids. So we thought, you know what, let's stop saying Coke.
yeah. So, like Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Can't
No,
keep
I don't
talking
think anyone
about
really likes
selling
Coke
Coke in
anyway.
public.
But yeah, how do we sell that cocaine? No. So we made soda can, and in fact, we're English. We don't even call it soda can really, but there's not really a great consensus of the name in England. Everyone calls it something different. Like people call it like a fizzy pop or a fizzy drink, or just you would call it by the brand name, like you'd say you can have Coke. So soda can seem like the best fit. Also, I think because then you get that kind of Mad Men style razzle dazzle advertising feel of just like it's something a bit shiny, a
Yeah,
soda can. So yeah, so we were thinking about soda
yeah.
can strategies and trying to think about how we divorce ourselves from the book itself and try and look at it much more objectively. And if we were doing that, how would we sell a thing rather than like, oh gosh, I've tried BookBub and I've tried Book Funnel and I've tried my mailing list and I've tried Facebook ads, and like trying to think about it from big picture, start from scratch. Like, how do you sell things? So that really, I feel like it's ridiculous that it feels like an epiphany,
Mm-hmm.
but it really does.
Yeah, agreed. I think when I was doing my research this week, because when you start writing and you start this whole book business, the thing that you look at when you think about marketing is marketing for books. And everyone's written a blog post or got something on their website, which is how to market books. And it's always social media, ads, just like the usual stuff. But when you do think about what we call soda can marketing and you step back from the book thing, like it's easier to look at it in more of a general marketing term of how am I selling this product? It's not a book. I mean, it is a book, but you're so close to the book itself that you're just like, it's just too much of an emotional thing. So step back. We are marketing men from Mad Men. So I've never watched it, so I don't know anyone's names. I'm John Hamm. I'm assuming he's one
You
of
should
the
watch it.
guys.
It's so good.
I don't know why I haven't watched it, but yeah, I'm John Hamm, and I'm trying to sell a soda can to
Yeah,
anybody who wants
I
one.
think another big reason why in self-publishing people don't think about big picture marketing, or I certainly haven't, is because most people try and do it on a full-time job. So if you've got a full-time job, you don't have time to sit back and think, okay, let me just go and take a marketing degree and then decide like, how do you sell things to people? You have to be like, okay, I've heard about BookBub, or I've heard about Book Funnel, I should get a Book Funnel account, and I've heard about writing a prequel, so I'll just do that. And you've got no extra time, you've got no brain space, and also you don't really know enough about the tools to be able to evaluate them. So this week, I feel like maybe for me, the last tool that I had really not at all even tried was BookBub. I had never had a BookBub before, and now I've had one, and even on the 30% royalty on a 99-cent book, I am just about to pay off, and still have very steady page reads, and people are ordering at full price. I've got other books in the series, so I am hoping that it will have quite a long tail. But I don't know, and I'm just really enthusiastic to see what the consequence is. A big part of the improvement of the book club is like I've gone from a book having 4 reviews to 18 reviews, a book that like really was just lingering and doing nothing. And now I think, oh, you know what, I could see myself advertising that. I might do some Amazon ads on that because it doesn't look now like this forgotten book. I've got more Goodreads followers, I've got more Amazon followers. If I've, even if I only broke even on this, I have improved in other areas and improved my knowledge. So that was kind of left a big hole for me. And now I've got enough things where I have tried pretty much everything a little bit that you can do in a like a whole marketing sphere for book marketing. And now I know enough about how they all work to go back and think, okay, this is every tool on my plate. What do I want to do with them sensibly now? And it also meant that I could ask a friend who works in marketing, who's got a very senior marketing job. I could say, okay, I know all my tools, but can you give me some advice in this area? And one area was, if you've got no idea what you're benchmarking against and what your possible projected sales are, how do you even vaguely figure out a launch plan? And I've asked a few different authors this, and the common consensus is your advertising for your launch plan is just what you can afford to lose. Which to me, I am a scientist by background. I have a science degree as my undergrad, and I absolutely love science, and my whole family's very sciencey. That's not scientific enough. It makes me not want to invest anything because I don't want to do something that just feels like plucking a figure out of the air. So I talked to him about this and got really good ideas about where you would go if you're marketing a soda can. What would you do? Because he is a writer, but not in self-publishing world, so really could kind of look at it from just a marketer's perspective and say, like, here are the steps X, Y, and Z. Make this list. He talked about like separating inbound customers and inbound promotion, outbound promotion. So getting people onto your main list and then doing a separate section of advertising for them. That really helped. I think it's a thing that I knew-ish. I had it in my head, but I had not even articulated like that, and I was not treating it like a sales funnel. I've got automations on my email, but they're not to a purpose. They're just like, I know you're meant to, so I've done something. And I've got different steps. Like, I've got different elements of a marketing funnel. They're just not in a funnel shape. They're in a sort of, ball of wool that's been attacked by a cat shape. And now I can sit down and think about it more logically. Has that also been your experience this week?
Yes. Oh, 100%. I think we've both done, well, we've done similar things. You sent me pictures of what you had done, and it was very, very similar in what I had done, but I also stole things from your thing. So, yeah, I very much looked at the marketing funnel, which is something that if you've worked in, I work in marketing. It's not product marketing, but
I've worked in
you
marketing
still
before.
see the
I
same
think
things
this
because you're
is the
looking.
worst thing about it, is we have both worked in marketing.
I know, but it's just different. I've never worked in marketing a physical product.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, me either.
But I
I've worked
have
in book
seen
marketing.
the obvious like marketing funnels that you see, like it's yeah. And it was really interesting, like you say, when your friend had talked about inbound marketing, outbound advertising, all that stuff. That really put it into perspective of the channels that you have available to you. That you just personally, my whole thing has been thinking about talking. If I get in front of the right people on social media, they will turn into sales.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was doing 2 steps, but it's like a 12-step process. Like there's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say I simplified it. I was just so naive about how intricate the sales process really is.
I think the problem is
So
lots of people do hit big with that incredibly simple version. They will have like TikTok virality, and then their book is enormous. And I think because self-publishers often, especially at our level, are very short of time and very short of marketing degrees, you will see that and you'll think, okay, that is a thing I could do because I'm creative. I could make some great TikToks, and I could really hope a lot. I could put in a lot of hope and hope that the universe delivers TikTok virality, which make my book famous. And that's reasonable given the resources that you have.
Yeah, it felt very much like I was hoping to win the lottery and basing my whole life and future plans on the idea of winning the lottery, which is like, I would never do that. I wouldn't do that in real life. I wouldn't like get a lottery ticket and then go and start shopping for new cars. Like I wouldn't have, it's not in my life plan. So, when I win that million or when I win that like 90 million, then like then I can do all the things that I want. That's just absolutely ridiculous, and that
Mm.
is how I've been living.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I don't mind that, because I feel like it's a very good mindset to have, is to live with, I don't know what the word is, just hope. like,
Yeah,
and
like a
very
golden ticket
enthusiastic
mentality, right? It's
hope.
not terrible. And I think the positive thing
Yeah,
is, it's not like we were
no.
doing nothing along the way. So it's not like we just sat at home,
Mm-mm.
scratching off scratch cards. We were scratching off scratch cards,
Mm-hmm.
but also putting in a lot of graft. And I love a special occasion
Yes.
scratch card. If I'm like doing something fun with a friend, and other bands have got scratch cards. But I'm not intending. I don't quit my job and think, okay, I've got a scratch card now. I'll quit my job. I am still working my
Yeah.
day job while playing the lottery
Yes.
occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
love to win the lottery. I'd be so good at it. I just think I'd be a great lottery
Yeah,
winner.
me too. Like
Um,
I do. I wonder why the universe hasn't done it yet, because am like born to be rich.
yeah, I'd make it look really good. I'd give them great marketing for
Yeah.
the National Lottery. But yeah, so I think though it's a bit like the people who play lottery the most are people actually who are in the poorest section of society, because that is their only possible option of seeing enormous life-changing wealth. So I think
Mm.
really
Mm-hmm.
authors who are newer in their career putting a lot of effort into social media is the same as that. It is playing the lottery because you don't have other opportunities at that time in your life. Whereas now, the stage we're
Yes.
at, we've got enough books, we've got enough knowledge that actually we're sort of moving into a different stage of our economic development, and we can afford to do things, and we can afford to hope that things will work that are not lottery, you know, shot from the blue. We can
Mm-hmm.
now put together very clear marketing plans. I think neither of us has got,
Yes.
like having looked at what we've done this week, neither of us has got, suddenly magically an MBA level, super worked out, clear, smart goals everywhere marketing plan. And I don't think that's worth doing. In fact, the friend that I was talking about earlier who works in marketing was saying the only way to get your figures for your launch and to figure out like how much money you should be putting into it and how much you should be benchmarking and like estimating as your outcome is to do experiments now. So I'm going to launch in October.
Mm-hmm.
I have still got 5 months of experiment time. So if I say, and I've made myself a list of Q2 experiments, one of which I've cheated because I put in my book club, but I would say that class an experiment. But other things are that I want to
Yes.
do Amazon
100%.
ads. I want to, I want to trial um, using book club ads to change um, my also bought authors. And just a small change. I just want to see how you do it and how much it costs and how effective it is. I'm not trying to do it as a marketing, like immediate sales strategy. I'm going to do a variety of experiments with a small fixed cost that I then see outcome for that cost. And that just feels so much more like I'm not playing the lottery. I am working. This is a job and it feels great, even though it's going to cost me money. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to invest that money in my business. And I'm happy to do that. I'm not happy to buy 1,000 scratch cards. I'm happy to invest in my business, though. Those are two really different things. That feels great. So yeah, really
Mm-hmm.
exciting Q2. Um, I have seen your funnel diagrams. Can you talk a bit about those? Because I think they were really, really helpful, and they kind of brought up a topic that
Yeah.
where we kind of separated marketing from sales.
Yes. Yes. So let me open my big notepad, which has got the pictures in it. It's easier to look at.
You didn't
I've
go
got
for
this
the
giant.
brown
Sorry,
roll of paper.
no, I should have done. I've got this big art pad which I forgot that I owned, and decided that I was
That
going to
is
draw marketing plans on it.
stunning.
So I have this, yes, this like a big marketing plan here, and effectively what I've done is just like set myself up for sales tactics for any book that I would write. So very generic. I know that people can't see this unless they watch the video that will go up on YouTube at some point in the next 10 years.
Mhm.
But effectively what I have is a sales funnel, and inbound and outbound marketing strategies. And I also realised, we were talking about this week, when you look at the marketing funnel, there are 5 sections. So you start with awareness, so making people aware of your product. Then you've got content, call to actions, newsletters, and they all should lead to the sale. However, I think when it comes to a lot of things, so whilst this obviously does work for the soda can strategy, if you were just selling the soda can, you would get somebody's attention, sell them all the things, and then it would lead to a sale. Because if you get somebody into a physical shop and they pick up an item, there's probably like 90% chance that they'll go to the checkout with that item. That's a made-up figure. Don't quote me on that. But it's probably over 50% if you pick something up in a shop.
It's your best Don Draper.
Yeah. Should be wearing a suit. I realised that when it comes to book sales, specifically because a lot of readers are buying digital books these days. They are still buying paperbacks, but because I'm selling on Amazon, it's still an online purchase. Just getting somebody to my Amazon page is in itself a thing. So you can get people to sign up to your newsletter, or you can get people to follow you on social media, but that's not going to lead to the sale. So I drew up my own funnel, which is called Pitch to Purchase, which I was very proud of myself for coming up with that.
Absolutely love it.
And my Pitch to Purchase is a 4-step funnel, which is really like a plan on how to, once you've got somebody's attention, so once you've got somebody following you on social media, once you've got somebody on your newsletter, they then go into this new funnel where I've got the 4 stages are involving the customer in the conversation about the product. An example would be pitching your product as like something that they want, so asking them what they want and saying, this is what you want, here you go. So involving them in a conversation. You'll see people do it on social media all the time, talking about I'm trying to think of an example because I definitely saw one today. Let's bring up Brienne Randall, because we love to talk about her and her Gilmore Girls. Yeah, Gilmore Girls Practical Magic book. And she realised by saying that this is what she'd written, that that's what people wanted. And a lot of her social media is asking people, like, is this the book that you wanted? And people have said yes. So, and she uses a social media tactic where she says, like, this is my book, comment yes, and I'll DM you the link for it. And so, like, she's getting people involved in the conversation. One of the other strategies that I came up with was connecting with people on an emotion base. And we've talked about this before, like, what emotion does your book bring out in people? So trying to then connect to people on the emotional base of what your story is another strategy that you can use to sell it. So once you've got them listening to you, then you can start telling them, like, this is what I'm going to make you feel, and isn't this great? The next one on my list is to facilitate the sale, which is a lot easier in a newsletter form. So this is particularly like the easier part when it's in a newsletter. Once you've got somebody in your newsletter and they are primed for a sale, you show them the discovery process, make it really easy. Big splashy picture and a big button that says, click here to buy. Again, it's difficult to convince people to buy, but if you can show them that's like, this is the process, this is where you click. I think some people kind of tend to forget that when they write newsletters, that they should be starting pretty soon with a button or a link to click. Once somebody opens the email, it needs to be one of the first things that they see. So that is another fun thing on my list. And then my last one, which is what I've titled, Make Them an Offer They Can't Refuse. And that is when you use your butter. So this is where you show them that your book is the perfect match for their taste. And it's like, it's all really obvious, I think, but it just, for me, puts it into perspective that there are two stages to marketing. There is the normal soda can strategy, and
I think there
then
are three.
I'm pitching. Yes, God. There probably
I
are three,
think,
so please hit me with your
yeah, because just as
knowledge.
you talk about this, I realised that actually, so there's one that's like get people to be in your funnel, basically. It's like get people solidly in your funnel. Then there's a whole
Mhm.
separate process of selling. Then soda expires. Books don't expire. Books can
It
sit on
does.
your Kindle
No.
forever. Um,
Yes.
and I think one of the problems is, and the Book Bob is a great example of that, right? People can buy your book for 99 cents and you can get thousands of downloads.
Mhm.
And I imagine, and I've done the same, right? I buy a lot of books in general, but I buy a lot of 99-cent books that I see on a great deal. I'm like, oh, I'll get that. And it will sit on my Kindle. Sometimes I'll never read it, right? There are books on there that I've never read on my Kindle. There are books that I won't
Yeah.
read for years. And then when I read them, I'll kick myself because I was like, oh, I would have loved this book ages ago. Um, and yeah, and there are books that I read straight away. And I think with you know the enormous availability of books that are well marketed and that are in people's faces, that are beautifully covered, that have got great hype around them, it's not enough to get someone to buy a book. You actually have to get someone to read your book, because really once they've read that first book,
Mm.
that is a marketing tool in itself to read the next book, because they think, I want either more of this world, that I want more of this feeling that I've experienced, or I want to close the open loop that started at the end of this book. But it's not enough to get someone to buy your book. That is not a career maker. Actually, reading it is the end of the funnel. And that, I think, is something I think we feel we've got no control over it, but actually we do. Like, you see things like readers groups for big authors, where people are like excited to talk about it. And you see people who, books that have got big spoilers in, so everyone wants to read it before the spoiler comes out. Like we were talking today about Leigh Bardugo's newest book, which has been out 1 month and already on Goodreads has got 15,000 ratings, which is like, that book will be good in 5 years' time. That book will be good in 10 years' time. People are desperate to read it, to be like in the in crowd, right? Or to be in that great feeling of like, I'm reading the thing that everyone's reading. I can talk to my friends about it. It's so much fun. That is an extra added bit of fun. And I think we assume that the funnel ends up at the purchase, but there's a reason why Leigh Bardugo is bigger than all of us, and that is because she has that extra. I mean, she's a great writer, but like the extra hype around her books is the thing that's like catapulting her. The same as like the hype around Taylor Swift right now, right? It's not like her music magically got miles better, but it's that like she's got this just enormous funnel and this enormous level of attention on her music that everyone is talking about it. There's the tour, there's the album, there's the kind of all the merch and the fun things that go around it. There's all the social media. There's everything saying like, you have to be in the Taylor world right now because it's so much fun, and it is. And we need to find a way to do that about our books. Obviously, probably slightly less than Taylor and Leigh Bardugo, but what can we be doing that has that same sense of like urgency to read?
Yes, that is a very, very good question, and one that I think I have always not thought about on purpose, because this is a mindset thing where you just think like, nobody will ever love my books that much. But that's so silly, because I love my
Mm.
books that much. So I
Hmm.
think that there is a missing component to my plan, and that really is the the just generating the excitement, generating fans. Like you say, like, we're
Hmm.
generating sales, but we need to be generating fans. And I think that is like,
Tiffany.
yes, the necklaces work.
Oh my gosh, Rob the Epiphany necklace. Yes, I used to work for the AA. which in the UK is what we call AAA for Americans. And I used to work in a call center
Mhm.
because it was right next to my college, and everyone at my college worked there, and no one knew about cars, and we were just meant to be changing people's details. They call up and say, I've moved house, I've got a new address, here's my new address, can you put it in the system? This was before the internet was that big. I'm very old. So they call up and say,
Mhm.
I've got a new address, or I've got a new car, here's my registration number. Whatever they need to change in their details, they would call up, or they want to add a person to the membership. And the job was not that well paid, but it had a great bonus scheme available if you could upsell someone. So you try to upsell people and say, oh, is there anybody else at property that also needs to be added to this cover? Or do you have any additional cars? Or do you want an additional level of coverage? And I hated it, right? I hate sales. And one thing that
Mhm.
we had targets, really specific targets for our sales. And one thing we had a target for was, I don't know if they still do this, so I've not kept up with my AA knowledge because I don't own a car. But what they used to do was they had a thing called home start, where if you didn't have this actually in your policy, you couldn't call the people out to come and help fix your car if you were within a quarter mile from your house. So if you were on your driveway and the car didn't start in the morning, unless you got home start, you couldn't call them out. When people called up to change their address, you would say, oh, great, I've changed your address for you. Just to make you aware, do you know you've not got home start on your policy? So if you break down at the new address, you can't call the AA. People would get so annoyed. They'd be angry because they'd be like, well, why am I paying for this thing that you can't even come collect my car if it gets broken down at my house? They'd get so angry. And I was talking to my boss one day and saying, I really hate trying to pitch this thing because it feels like a really mean policy. Like, why don't we just have it that we give them home start? Like, that seems ludicrous that we don't offer that. And it's like, it's a big expense. Like, a lot of call outs are for people who just haven't, like, looked after their car in cold weather properly. And if they give it to everybody, they have to raise everyone's costs. And I said, oh, can I just not like get that target? Can I just not go for that bonus and I'll go for the other ones? Because this one I hate having this argument every time. And he's like, if there is someone who breaks down tomorrow and they don't know they've not got a home start, they're paying hundreds of pounds to get the AA to come out to them because they need the AA to come out to them because their car's broken down. You spoke to them yesterday and you didn't tell them that for just it was not expensive, like £25 they could add this to their policy, and they'll be annoyed at you. And you're giving them just the opportunity to buy this thing. That's all you're giving them, is an opportunity to buy something that they really might want. They don't know they don't have it. They would love it. You know, many people would love it, and you're just giving the opportunity to do it. And I think we can feel that same way about our books, is that we are pushing our books on people. We're saying like, oh, here's this book that you must read because it's the next big thing. And it's not, you're giving someone an opportunity to enter a world that you have spent months, sometimes years crafting, that you have done your absolute best on, and you have studied and you have worked and researched and you've written, you've chosen every word, you've edited, you've polished it, you have made a world that, like, I keep reviews on my wall, and the reviews on my wall say things like, oh, it's like meeting my best friends, going back into these books, or it is just such a wonderful experience, like opening a new Heather Bell mystery. Like, all you're doing is giving people an opportunity. They don't have to buy your book, they don't have to read your book, but if you don't pitch to them, they don't get the chance to find their new favorite book. And that is a really hard mindset thing to get on board with. But like, I think that is an easy way for me. I'm thinking I'm trying to do the hard sell. I'm just trying to give people an opportunity to find the series that I know I would love to read, because, you know, and I'm a person, they're a person, maybe they'll also love to read it.
Yeah. Yes, I think I think it is definitely a mindset thing of feeling like you feel like you're tricking them. Like, I feel like I'm trying to trick people into buying a book, but like, I live in these books. Like, I am still in these places, and I still love the characters that I created and think about them constantly. Like, they are real people to me. And it's funny because I follow somebody on TikTok, and she released her first book like end of last year, and I had signed up for a pre-order because her whole strategy was she loves her book. Every single, like, she was like almost to the, like, Brianne Randall. She was hammering it with social media, just specifically on TikTok. Every video was her either doing a lip sync or just like a funny reaction or something, and every single video was about how much her characters were going to change my life. And
It
I
makes me
bought
feel
into
so
it
uncomfortable.
100%. I know, but there's absolutely nothing cringe about the way that she was doing it. I 100% believed that she believed, and I do think when I make videos on social media, I do try and channel her level of excitement for her books. I mean, I don't do it enough, but when I do videos where I'm trying to like convince people to buy the book, I do think like if she can, because I read her book and it wasn't fantastic. It was a really good story and the characters were really good, but it was definitely, you could tell it was a passion project, and I didn't have any problems with that because I will read anything and love it. Like I'll find all the good things in it and ignore the bad things. But like every video that she does is just basically telling me that I am going to fall in love with these characters. And even if she was wrong, I still bought the book, and I'm still going to buy the next book because why not? Like I'm in now, so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
think
such a
that
mindset thing.
I'll tell you her name just in case, because I know like people, like there's no point not sharing. She is called, I think she comes up under SC Hunter. Let me check. SC Hunter. Sorry, I'm just doing the old woman search on TikTok, where you just assume that the letters you're writing are correct. And you know, like from my past podcast episode, I can't remember anyone's names. I'm really bad for it. I'm going to say it's SC Hunter. Yes, it is. So definitely check her out on TikTok and just see the level of excitement and charisma. She's like so charismatic. Everything. I'm just enthralled by her. I just want to watch all. She's a kind of like the cooking woman on Instagram and TikTok, but I just see her on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, Lulu Tay.
Yes, she's kind of like that, but she's sexier, but very much more sexier about it. Like she's very like, she puts herself like across as very like I don't know, like va-va-voom. I can't. You just have to look her up. But
Seductive.
she's just a great example. She's very seductive. I find her seductive anyway. So
I mean, I
I
find
feel
Lulu
like
Tay seductive enough,
I'm
so
gonna
I
try.
will. Yeah,
I
I
do.
will
Yes,
be
I do.
warned.
Yes, she's just like a little bit more forward with it, and I
I'll
think
put links to both those in the
maybe
show notes,
is
and that's
the
useful.
next. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I what was I going to say? Yes, I now have a collection on my Instagram of just posts that are from people who are like that, just of like authors who are very confident, and their work is no better than mine. That is, I think, the thing that I really, really have to reconcile myself with is like,
Yes.
their work isn't terrible, and it isn't, you know, out there winning the Pulitzer. It is really good. I think my books are really good. I think you're just looking for the right audience for your book, and for a lot of people, different books are really good. I think I am doing a disservice to my books, and I'm not giving enough people an opportunity to find them. I need to practice self-love for my books.
I feel like if we just kind of circle back to the soda can strategy, is there are drinks out there that people don't like, but a lot of people do. So I'm going to say a drink that not a lot of people like, but I do. Dandelion and burdock.
Oh, love it. It's like
I
heaven, nectar
know.
from the gods. Yeah, I don't like Coke. I like, if I'm
It
drinking
is
a
a
black fizzy
very
drink, I'm drinking Dandelion and Burdock.
right. So you see, like there is an opportunity, and that there are like these big things that everybody like, a lot of people love that other people don't love. So it really is just, it's all about elbowing your way in to your target market and staking your claim. And I feel like if I follow this process that I've come up with and start just really trying to believe in the fact that I deserve to be on the shelf with the other cans of soda, that level of thinking, that mindset, that confidence will eventually pay off. Like if other people like drinking dandelion and burdock,
Love it.
then we're all there. It's all good.
Yeah. And Dandelion and Burdock is not trying to be Coke, right? It is trying to be, and it is essentially a drink. I don't think they have it in America. I think we're saying this most nonsense drink. It's a drink, literally, it's the flavors of dandelions and burdocks. It's just weeds. It's just a drink made of weeds. It's so
And
delicious.
I feel like it's quite similar to root beer.
I don't feel that way because I don't really like root beer, but maybe it is. I don't hate root beer, but I think it's not got that, like, I don't know.
It's
Dandelion and Burdocks got such a unique taste, like such a specific taste.
like
But it's not.
it's kind of like medicine.
Yeah, it's like medicine. But it's not like the people who make that are not thinking, oh, should we just add like a bit of Coke flavouring in there to make it more palatable? Because I hate Coke. So if I drank that and burger tasted more like Coke, I would stop drinking it. And if Coke tasted more like Dandelion Burdock, I'd be more likely to be on board. But then they would probably lose quite a big part of the market share. So we're back around to niches again. We're back around to niches and like really being in your niche and loving your niche and like celebrating your niche, not saying like, oh, I'm so embarrassed I'm in this weird little niche. I'm so sorry that I can't be mainstream. I'm like, no, be the dandelion and burdock. People love it.
Yes.
It's so delicious. I want the dandelion and burdock now. I'm so annoyed I haven't got any.
Oh, me too. I'm gonna get some this week.
Me too, yeah. That I think we really reached the depths of our knowledge of our epiphanies on this when we're down to talking about drinks made of weeds. So next week we shall be back on the epiphany train. We're continuing the series on books and products with an episode on author comps. Do you have any thoughts already on that?
Like I just said, my author comps tend to be on around people's attitude or how they put themselves across on social media. I have looked at author comps before in the past, particularly at the start of this year when I was looking at like book covers and things and just seeing where I fit within the market, and found it very difficult because I haven't actually found many indie authors who are doing what I'm doing. Like, I find it very difficult to find people who are writing books similar to what I'm writing. So I think I'm going to maybe try and look at like traditionally published authors as well, or maybe just lean in that direction just to see what level of marketing they're doing. Yeah, I'm kind of still mulling things over. How about you?
I am still in a mulling phase as well because I think one thing I've really tried to figure out is like you can have an author comp on different levels. So if we think about cozies, right, there are different sort of subcategories of cozies. So you could have culinary, historical, paranormal, they're like craft cozies. So you could have it based on that. You also get ones that are, for example, written in first person or third person, present and past. You also get ones where they're set in England or they're not set in England. Now, those are two quite specific niches. Some people absolutely love books that are set in England and they will read anything set in England because it is, a big Anglophile genre. Or you get ones where they're like different levels of like wholesome, for want of a better word, like really, really no violence on the page cozies, or ones a bit more sassy and even have like swearing and violence in. So I think the tricky thing for me is figuring out, and like writing style, I think is another big comp, or area to be comparison on. The biggest thing to me to figure out is like what is the primary thing that matters when you're looking for an author comp? Because I've got author comps that I've been thinking about for ages who they both write English cozies. They're contemporary, they're baking related, but their style is relatively different from mine. And are they close enough comps for me to say those are comps? Or when people are looking for author, when people are, readers are looking for author comps, are they looking they're looking at people who are very, very similar style wise? I don't know. And I think that is one thing I want to figure out because as authors, we don't really read like readers. We are very eclectic readers. And I want to figure out more about how a reader's choosing. So I did come across, again, this is very English specific, a Mumsnet thread about someone trying to find cozy mysteries. And Mumsnet threads do not hold back. They are full of honest opinions. So I've put a bookmark in it. I kind of didn't want to get into author comps too much while I was doing stuff last week, but I started thinking about it and I started looking at my comp authors or the ones I think are closest to me, and then their author level also books, and trying to figure out like which ones of those maybe are a bit closer to me. But I think my thing that I want to figure out this week is I've already got plenty of people that I know have intersections with me, but what are the key intersections that matter most to readers? I don't know. So I need to find that out.
Yeah. Lots of research this week for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. One of these weeks
Yes,
we'll
but
have
yeah, I
something
think that'll be
relaxing to do.
no, never relaxing. We'll be on it. We'll relax when
No.
we're millionaires. So we're on it this week.
Okay.
We have got
Fair enough.
some things coming up that are less research based, maybe more about thinking based. So this I think is a big research week, like the week just gone has been. I'm looking forward to it. I think
Yes.
it'll be fantastic, and I will look forward to chatting to you again next week.
Yes, me too. Well, thank you very
Bye.
much, and goodbye, everybody.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.